And Brad, of course, congratulations on your induction on Saturday. So as a teenager, how did you get into hockey officiating to begin with?
Hi, Don. Thanks. Actually, I was 13. Um,
13. Oh, sorry.
13 when I started officiating, and my uncle was involved. He was doing lines in the Sask Junior League and refereed, and he asked me one night if I was interested in going with him to a clinic, and so off I went when I was 13 and did a
Oh,
lot of
my goodness.
6 in the morning sets on Saturday morning or Sunday morning if I wasn't playing because I was still playing. So
Yeah.
Mom would get up at 5 o'clock and get me breakfast and drive me over to the El Richie, and I'd work from 6 to 10, and then that
Wow.
went on for quite a few years. So
Oh, my
until it,
apologies. 13. I had no idea you started at that age. And you must have been like mature for your age because at 13, and you've got maybe the odd idiotic adult yelling at you and you're 13 and you knew how to handle it at 13. How did you manage that?
I don't know if I knew how to handle it, but we had some good support people too at that time. And I
Yeah.
remember Gord Wilkie, that name, he
Hmm.
refereed, and Gord helped me a lot when I was like those 13, 14, 15 years. We talked about officiating coaches now, and I would say probably Gord. I don't even know if he remembers that, but he always gave us pointers. He was around, so he was a big help when we were young, and it was kind of learned by fire back then. You went to a clinic, and
Oh, okay.
it was pretty. There were some tense moments. I remember, we had that week long tournament at Easter time, and so you'd work pretty much from the morning till the end of the
Oh,
day.
Centennial Cup. Was that the
Yeah,
Centennial Cup
I think it was the Centennial
at
Cup,
the
and
El
so
Richie? Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, lots of that, and then that developed into getting some opportunities in some tournament finals. When you're 15, 16 in that area, and still played a lot of hockey.
Hmm.
And then when I was 18, I was actually going to go play junior, and didn't really want to move away from home, but thought, that's my next step is playing.
Yeah.
And Dennis Pottage called me and said, "Are you interested in doing lines in the Western Hockey League and the Sask Junior League?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." So stayed at home in that 18 year when I was 18,
Okay.
worked that year in both leagues. And then when I was 19, I decided to go play. It was Division two then, but now Division three. I played for Concordia College. Steve Baumgartner was a friend of my brother's, and
Okay.
Steve was playing down there and said, "Hey, are you interested in coming playing with us?" So I went down there and played there for a year and had a great experience. Sometimes I wonder why I didn't go back for the full 4 years. We actually played in the Final Four, so that was a great experience to
Wow.
play there. And
That's
then came
cool.
back and played with the Regina Exports, Molson Exports, for about 4 years after that in senior hockey. Well, I
Hmm.
continued. Probably during 3 of those years, I was still doing lines in Sask Junior in the Western League, and then started refereeing. And I found it hard the year I started refereeing because your schedule, you did more travel, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
played only provincials with them for a year or two, and then gave up the hockey, and just since then been incredibly active in the officiating world. So it's been a great experience.
How much did it help you being a former player in your officiating?
I think it really did at that time anyway. Yeah. You know, I think the one thing it really helps is the speed of the game. You're used to the speed of the game and things happening around
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, we have some outstanding officials. Brad Potson, one of my best
The
friends.
the two Brads, as you were
Yeah,
known way back then.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
8 Stanley Cup Finals, and he never played anything more than like a Bantam C hockey at that time, right?
Mm.
So in some cases it helps, but in other cases, guys like Brad that
And Brad
had
could
a total
skate.
love.
Yep.
I think Brad could skate, and he grew late
Yeah.
in life too, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah, in his grade 12 year, I think he grew 11 inches, which put him
You're
back in the
kidding.
mix. No, yeah, he was
Oh,
he was
jeez.
just a tiny guy, and so when he hit grade 12, he had a growth spurt, and again, an incredible skater, incredible athlete, and he was also he just loves sports. That guy. So I
Hmm.
mean, I'd go my game, he'd go to his game, and the whole group of us would meet after in an establishment and just talk the whole night about what happened in our games. So just love doing
That's
that
cool.
stuff. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
Brad
it was
was
a
an
great time.
NHL official, the third oldest to keep going at 57 before he retired. Did you, as a 13-year-old, did you get Brad Watson, the other of the two Brads, Brad Watson? Did you get him into it yourself?
Nope, he was
Oh,
into it. Brad
okay.
and I actually, probably our first year university, we kind of connected. Like it was funny. We grew up in the same neighborhood. Brad went to
Yeah,
Douglas Park. I went
that's
to St.
right.
Andrew, and we just have some big shinny games against each other. And Brad tells the story. He thought we were all pretty cocky and didn't like us during those shinny games. But and then in university, Brad and I connected through the officiating. And then we used to have when I played with the exports, we had to take a traveling linesman with us. And
Oh,
so I
okay.
asked Brad if he'd be our traveling linesman. So Brad and I, even though I was playing, he was ref, and we spent a lot of time together then. And Brad, even though we were the same age, he looked a lot younger. And
He still
I
does.
remember he does. He looks great, and he's still in great shape. And
Yeah, but you look young
um,
too, so.
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Brad, he at that time, Robbie Fair and those guys
Oh,
were,
yeah.
some of the top guys around. And I remember a guy, I said, well, they used to get to pick their linesmen too for games. And I said, why don't you guys take Brad? And they're going, well, he's so young. He's got lots of time. I go, he's same age as me. And then they go,
Oh,
really? And
okay.
then some of those guys, and then so Brad just excelled, obviously, in what he was doing. And yeah, so Brad and I just spent so much time talking hockey, and then the Mike
Did you
hasn't
ever?
Pratt's been.
Yeah,
I started. Daryl Davis was one of the veteran linesmen in the Western League when I
right.
started, and so those guys and Mick Magoo, all those guys. Mick and I started in the Western League the same year, so
Cool.
a lot of good times with those guys.
Well, when I heard you and Brad talk, you talked the same lingo. You had the same sort of, I don't know, words that you used. I thought you were brothers, but then you had, oh, they can't be. They have two last names, but they talk exactly the same. But now, and let's flip up to today now, and you're off to Hungary very shortly to help their officials and develop their officials in their, I guess, professional hockey league. And one question I had about that, which is cool that you're doing that, and I know you're involved in Austria as well, but like Europe and North America play, or rather, they play two different styles and they're officiated differently. So when you're coming from North America with the way that, the organizations on this continent referee hockey, and then you're going over there in a different style, do you keep that in mind, or does that have anything to do with it? How does that work when you're talking to officials in Hungary?
Yeah, some of the mechanics are the same. So getting in the right position to see the play properly, getting in the right position so the player can make the best play that they can make, and you're not in the way. Those things are the same. Obviously, the ice surface is bigger over there, so there's a little bit of adjustment there. The game flow fouls now are very similar. Like, we want skill to show, and so the obstruction fouls, those sorts of things are very similar. What is
Okay.
different a bit is the physical component of the game. I had a conference call with some Hungarian executive the other day, and I've been watching
Mm-hmm.
video from over in the Hungary League. And I said, some of those things you guys said called penalties on, we would say are good hits here. We still have, they don't use the
Okay.
same terminology as we do with regards to outside the 90 or blindside hits or elevation or those sorts of things. But I thought there was some of them where the player came directly on and made good physical contact, and they were solid and the guy went flying, and they tend to call those as penalties over there. So I'm going to have a little bit of learning over there.
Oh,
The Austrian, and the sad part is in watching the international hockey over the years, there was some embellishment, but that's crept into our game here too.
right. Now there's
In
penalties for
fact,
embellishment. Yep.
right.
Thanks
In
to the.
fact, this year in Sask Junior, it was one of our focus areas, right? To tell the
Mm-hmm.
officials to deal with it. So that's not a positive, but it's both internationally and here. It's very similar now. So, but with that said, there's going to be some adjustments, but last year when I went over, I did about, I don't know, 6 or 7 games in the Austrian League, and that was just my wife's heavily involved in figure skating. She
Right.
had an assignment. She had an assignment over in Europe, in Hungary. I decided, it was time to maybe travel with her a little bit. So Tommy Kyle, that works in the Western League, we were doing a development camp classroom session together, and just mentioned I was going with Karen to Hungary. He works for the Austrian Pro League as well, and said, "Hey, we got a team over there. Will you work for us?" And so I worked some games there. Did a couple games with Hungarian officials that were working in. They have one team in Fehérvár in Hungary that's in the Austrian League. And he just asked, so I did those, worked with some Hungarian officials. On the way back to the hotel one night, the one guy said, "We could really use a guy like you over here." And that's what started the whole thing. We went back, Karen got another assignment. Typically it's not in the same country, but she got another assignment in Hungary. So we went over and we did a tour through the Austrian League, phoned Tommy, and it was a great experience, loved it. And that's, back in March, I received a call from their sports director and said, "Hey, are you interested in working for us?" So that's what got it all going. And I leave on the 4th for 3 weeks to work with their training camp and their exhibition schedule. And I'm doing more than...
Interesting.
We have a referee in chief in the Pro League that's new. So him and I have been doing some work together, and they have a referee in chief of minor hockey also. I'll be working with them as well, and we're going to look at everything from training hockey, the officiating coaches, to I'm going to be involved in their discipline in their pro league and helping in selection of officials for playoffs. And I'll do a lot of stuff remotely too. I'm going to be over there 70 days through the winter and remotely here. Quite a bit. They only play Tuesday, Friday, and Sundays. Wednesdays and Saturdays, I learned last year, are their soccer days, and you don't touch soccer days. Even hockey, and even the Hungarian league's just developing. And I was talking to one general manager, and what's your pay structure? He was telling me what they pay the player. The imports get paid fairly well, but Hungary, I would say, is a it's not the Austrian league or the Swiss league or the German, but they're really working hard to improve their hockey, and it's good. And but to the one team I was talking to, I said, "How do you guys all pay all your bills? You only draw about 2,000 fans." And he said, "We're owned by the soccer team."
Oh, right. Soccer rules supreme. Oh, you get a lot of good things from soccer, including knowing how to embellish. But anyway, the hockey players learn from the soccer players. Now, I've talked to players who have played professional hockey in both Europe and North America. They always say, well, they call things way tighter in Europe than they do in North America. And so I've discussed the issue of, if they called the game of hockey in North America as tight as they did in Europe, would you need fighting in North American hockey if you called it way tighter? What's your take on that?
Just personal. I'm actually not a fighting fan anymore. When I reffed and everything, I thought it was fine. I got to tell you, over there in the Austrian League, they want to end the games around the 2-hour mark. And so one of their goals is they have very few gatherings. It's a quick shot after the whistle. There's some emotion still, but it's a quick shot. But they don't continue on with it in most cases, especially in the regular season. Most of the games were honestly 2:05, 2:07, and we were going home. And so it's just fast. And my wife came to some games with me, and I remember the first one, she said about third period, "Brad, I can't believe how fast this game's going. It's just about over." And so there's that component. You can still be really physical, play hard between the whistles. I still like the physical component of the game. I really do. But I'm just what we know, what happens to the brain with brain injuries now. I'm just not a fan of it anymore for that reason.
And you've been close up to fighting, obviously very close up as a referee and officials. And I guess you've got firsthand experience at seeing a player who you clearly can tell or see is hurt after a big punch.
Well, this is not the greatest moment, but in our first year in the Western League, we we were told, do not, under any circumstances, go into a fight unless they fall on the ice. And the Pats had a Euro playing for them, and he got into a fight, and he was out cold on his feet, but not down. And we were standing there and watching it. And I remember thinking, wow. And B.D. Barton on his sports,
B.D. Martin
on sports the next night, he said, I won't say the other official's name. He goes, but I don't know how Brad Howard and so and so can call themselves human beings to stand there and watch that. They played something along that lines. and shortly after that, the next week we got a memo saying, if there's a situation like this, you're going in again. So, so, I mean, we used to go, like, if someone was getting beat bad, we used to go in, right? You might take the odd punch here and there. And back then we didn't wear helmets either. So we'd take the odd one too, right? So, but yeah, it's, so I've seen it up, even now in my role, you see some guys just get hammered and you're thinking, oh man. We had a situation in Weyburn a couple of years ago too, where a guy was out, the player actually stopped immediately, and he turned to our referees and made a comment. He was so concerned, but at that time, the emotion's high, and he hit him, and he went over on him, and the guy went down on the ice. They were down, and he went over on him, and like the referee said, he did stop almost immediately when he realized the guy's hurt. Good. But the player was hurt bad. So anyway,
well, we'll see. The Quebec League has banned it, and see what happens as we carry on with that sort of issue. Now, by trade, you were a school principal in the public system. I watched you in action. Well, you were the principal, I think, at Howrah at one time. Weren't you at Howrah?
Jack McKenzie. No, I was.
Oh, Jack McKenzie. Okay, some reason I was at Jack McKenzie and saw you in action. But anyway, I thought, well, Brad has got a way about him in how he deals with people who are upset and whatnot. And I wanted to ask you the question, upset, at the school, and you're the principal. And I wanted to ask you the question, you've dealt with so many angry people in hockey. You've had coaches running after you and general managers when you were supervising as well, not only on the ice. Did what you learned in officiating help you as an educator and a principal?
Immensely. I used to say when you're a player, you're playing with emotion, and you're not worried about, you probably escalate situations, right? And it took me a while to realize that our role as a referee is to de-escalate things, not escalate them. So in most cases, what I found too is you can find common ground, right? And if you find that common ground, and then you build on that. And even with a coach, in my role, I do not lie to a coach or a manager. If we erred, I tell them we erred, and we're going to work on it. We're going to work on improving, right? The odd guy won't accept that, but overall we do. And in my role as an administrator, working with families and those sorts of things, you often had those situations too, right? There's emotion involved, and you want to try to de-escalate it and then get to the point and get a resolution so you can move forward. So there was times I still let, not so much in my administration role, but there's times it still gets pretty heated behind the scenes, and every now and then I still get a little fired up.
Now, coming up a little later, we're going to be talking about another inductee into the Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame on Saturday. That's Barry Trapp. I don't know if he's listening right now, Barry, but he's on at about 5:10, somewhere around there. But did you ever have any problems? Let's go on the record now. Did you ever have any problems with Barry Trapp?
Never. Barry was, but I will tell a story, and I hope Barry's okay with this. I was refereeing in Moose Jaw when he's coaching the Warriors, and Barry was always he's just a class guy, total class guy. I'm honored to be going in with those guys, Bill Liskwich, Al Hubbs, who we're not the pro guys, but we're guys that worked forever in the trenches, right? So. So I'm honored to be going in with those guys. But one night, Barry was on the bench, and he was getting the fans going at at the old crush can. And I said, Barry, get down. Yeah, I'm going to have to penalize you if you don't get down. Yeah, I don't think he was yelling at me. I don't know. But, well, I can't even really remember. He's walking across the ice after the period. I said, Barry, you can't do it. He just winked at me. He was just doing, the theatrics of it to get the crowd going. And, he was just a good guy to deal with. But that was the only time I remember Barry, there he is standing on the dash or the boards, waving his arms and just getting the fans rolling. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, I got a funny feeling when you guys are together being inducted on Saturday, you'll have lots of chats with him and lots of chats with all the other inductees, all the memories you have. Congratulations on that again, Brad, and tell Brad Watson to behave, if it's possible for him to behave, and enjoy because I know he's coming in to see your induction, is he not?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm really excited about him coming. So.
And you enjoy yourself at Hungary and eat well. They probably have nice food over there.
They really do. It's going to be a great opportunity. I'm still going to be working with the Western Hockey League when I'm back here with their officials, and so.
Good. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's good. We're going to have Dan Neer on next week, I believe, and we're going to talk about all the issues that they're doing with the NCAA. So it'll be interesting. They're still going to have good hockey players. They may be a little younger, but they might have better players coming in, actually, as a result of all of this, apparently.
Don, the kids are so good now. Like, I've been in Sask Junior too, and the quality of play is so good. It's so fast.
Yeah.
At the junior A level, the major junior level, it's just, the kids are just so talented now. And, even the fighting and whatnot, we have some of it, but, I think back when, one guy in every line was a protector back then of the skilled guys, right?
Yeah.
Now it's three skilled guys on a line, and they can go. So I love the hockey now. I really do. Skill comes out, and it's so. Anyway, it's been great.
Way faster, bigger, stronger than guys like we were. Anyway, thanks a lot, Fred.